there are three large cylindrical devices. These are on mounts that allow them to completely swivel up to 180 degrees and in 360-degree rotation. These are the gravity amplifiers themselves. Looking down from the top, you'd have the center. So it's the reactor here, powering the gravity amplifiers. Gravity amplifiers output goes into the gravity emitters at the bottom. The resulting gravity beam or anti-gravity wave can be pretty much put anywhere you want it to. I had access and was permitted to view and look at the operation of this main level with the gravity amplifiers and the level below, the gravity emitters. They actually fly belly first. The craft flies along, leaves the atmosphere of the planet. It turns its belly to the destination. The three amplifiers focus in on the destination.
A man claims he worked on alien spacecraft hidden in the Nevada desert, containing technology so advanced it could revolutionize human civilization. This isn't science fiction. It's the controversial story of Bob Lazar, a figure who has captivated UFO researchers and skeptics alike for over 3 decades.
Their response is bordered on paranoia.
It began to lift off the ground almost silently. There was a hiss sound, like a corona discharge if you hear around high voltage systems, accompanied by a faint, it probably would have been brighter at night, a faint blue glow around the bottom. As the craft approached about 30 feet, 20 feet, something like that off the ground, that corona discharge disappeared. The sound stopped and the craft stood there silently and slowly drifted over to the left and then to the right.
In 1989, an anonymous whistleblower using the pseudonym Dennis appeared on Las Vegas television. His face was hidden in shadow as he described working at a top-secret facility near Area 51, where he claimed the U.S. government kept recovered alien spacecraft. This mysterious figure would later reveal himself as Bob Lazar, launching one of the most fascinating and debated stories in UFO history.
At the time that I was working there at McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas, there was a Special Projects EG&G building. When I was told to go to work, I drove there, parked my car there, got in a plane at the airport, flew to Groom Lake, where I deplaned and waited for a bus, and the bus drove me down to S4.
According to Lazar, S4 wasn't your typical military base. It was essentially a hidden laboratory cleverly disguised within the Nevada desert landscape. Picture a series of hangar doors built right into the side of a mountain, designed to be nearly invisible unless you knew exactly where to look. The facility's location was strategic, about 15 miles south of the already secretive Area 51, adding another layer of security and isolation. Inside these hangars, Lazar claims he encountered something extraordinary: 9 different alien spacecraft. What made these craft particularly fascinating wasn't just their otherworldly appearance, but their incredible technology. Each spacecraft allegedly had its own unique design and capabilities, but they shared one revolutionary feature: their propulsion system. The heart of this technology, according to Lazar, was element 115, a substance that hadn't even been discovered on Earth when he first made these claims in 1989. He said this element was the key to manipulating gravity itself, allowing the spacecraft to move in ways that seemed to break the laws of physics as we know them. His job at S4 allegedly involved trying to understand and reverse engineer this advanced propulsion system. Let me explain element 115 and how it supposedly worked in these alien spacecraft, according to Lazar's claims. Think of element 115 as a revolutionary power source, but one that didn't just generate energy, it could actually manipulate gravity itself. When Lazar first described this element in 1989, it was particularly striking because scientists hadn't even created it in a laboratory yet. The way it allegedly worked is fascinating. Inside the spacecraft, a reactor would bombard element 115 with protons, creating a reaction that generated gravity waves, basically ripples in the fabric of space itself. These waves could then be focused and controlled, similar to how a lens focuses light. Here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of pushing the spacecraft forward like a regular engine, this system would pull space itself toward the craft. Imagine sitting on a blanket and, rather than crawling across it, pulling the blanket toward you. This method supposedly allowed the craft to achieve incredible speeds without the passengers feeling any crushing G-forces, Since they weren't actually moving through space, space was moving around them.
What's element 115?
Element 115 is a super heavy element. It's something that we've only just recently synthesized. We only made 4 atoms of it. But the craft uses larger quantities of it, 223-gram little triangles of it. But it's a unique element. When it's exposed to radiation, it produces its own gravitational field, its own anti-gravitational field, and it's what's used to lift and propel the craft and create distortions around it. It's an amazing material, and it's certainly nothing that occurs here or naturally.
And it can be weaponized, and that's kind of the issue here. If this story is all true, that can be weaponized.
Absolutely.
Remarkably, in 2003, scientists successfully created element 115, later named moscovium, in a laboratory. While the synthesized version is highly unstable and decays within seconds, unlike the stable version Lazar described, the very fact that this element was eventually created has kept many people intrigued by his claims. After going public with his story, Lazar reported experiencing intense harassment. He described break-ins at his home, threatening messages, and attempts to erase his personal history. Indeed, many researchers have struggled to verify basic facts about his background, including his claimed education at MIT and Caltech. However, some elements of his story have been corroborated. A Los Alamos National Laboratory phone directory from the 1980s lists Lazar as a physicist, and several witnesses have confirmed seeing him at Los Alamos during that period.
Okay, we're recording. State line of origin? Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Gosh.
For years, Lazar remained largely out of the public eye, running a scientific supply company and avoiding UFO-related publicity. However, in 2018, he returned to the spotlight in Jeremy Corbell's documentary, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, reaffirming his original claims and providing additional context to his experiences. His story has gained renewed interest in recent years, particularly following the U.S. government's acknowledgement of Area 51's existence in 2013 and the release of confirmed Navy UFO footage. While these developments don't directly prove Lazar's claims, they've made many people take a second look at his story. One aspect that sets Lazar's account apart is the level of technical detail he provided. He described the alien propulsion system as having 3 gravity amplifiers that could focus gravity waves in any direction. The craft allegedly operated in 2 modes, Omicron mode for near-Earth travel and Delta mode for interstellar travel. He also described the interior of the craft, noting that everything appeared to be made from a single piece of material, with no visible seams or joints. The seats were small, seemingly designed for beings much smaller than adult humans. Whether one believes Lazar's story or not, his impact on UFO research and popular culture is undeniable. His descriptions of Area 51 and S4 helped transform a little-known military base into the world's most famous secret facility. Many of the concepts he described, from gravity propulsion to stable element 115, have become staples of UFO discourse. Today, the debate over Lazar's claims continues. Skeptics point to the lack of verifiable credentials and physical evidence, while supporters argue that the technical accuracy of his descriptions and some of his validated claims suggest he's telling the truth. The questions his story raises remain relevant. Are we alone in the universe? Does the government possess advanced technology beyond public knowledge? And perhaps most importantly, what happens when someone claims to have evidence that challenges everything we think we know about physics and human technological capabilities? As we enter an era of increased government transparency regarding UFO phenomena, with official acknowledgement of unexplained aerial encounters and the establishment of new investigation programs, Lazar's decades-old claims seem more relevant than ever. His story reminds us that the line between the impossible and the undiscovered is often thinner than we imagine. While definitive proof of his claims remains elusive, the questions he raised continue to challenge our understanding of technology, government secrecy, and humanity's place in the universe. Bob Lazar's story represents one of the most compelling and controversial chapters in UFO history. Whether viewed as a whistleblower, a skilled storyteller, or something in between, his impact on our cultural understanding of government secrecy and extraterrestrial technology is undeniable. As we continue to uncover new information about unexplained aerial phenomena and push the boundaries of our scientific understanding, Lazar's claims serve as a reminder that sometimes the truth can be stranger than fiction. The question remains, was Bob Lazar giving us a glimpse of technology so advanced it seemed alien, or was he simply telling us what we wanted to believe? The debate continues, but one thing is certain. The story of Bob Lazar and his claims about reverse engineering alien spacecraft at S4 will remain a fascinating chapter in the ongoing search for answers about our place in the universe.
To be honest, I don't actually think that is the case. I think that's a very small minority of people that are criticising us. The facts are out there. We were dining very close to the children and we were checking on them very, very regularly. You know, we are very responsible parents and we love our children so much, and I think it's only a very few people.
17 years later, Madeline's parents finally break silence. Shocks the world. In 2007, 3-year-old Madeline vanished from a resort in Portugal, sparking one of the largest missing person investigations ever. Now, after 17 years of unanswered questions, new developments are grabbing everyone's attention. Tucker Carlson's major announcement and surprising updates from the McCann family might finally uncover the truth. What's really happening and why is everyone talking about it? Let's find out. The story begins on a sad evening in Praia da Luz, Portugal, when the McCann family's vacation took a terrible turn. Kate and Jerry McCann came back from dinner to find their 3-year-old daughter Madeline missing, while her twin siblings slept nearby. What started as a local police search quickly became a worldwide manhunt. The early investigation had many problems, including the police wrongly focusing on the parents as suspects, which may have delayed finding important clues. The media attention helped keep Madeline's case in the spotlight, but also led to false leads that made solving the case even harder.
Jerry, I mean, look, difficult question, but obviously the resort you were in had lots of nanny facilities and they weren't that expensive to use, and you both were professionals earning money. Another criticism that's put to you is, why didn't you just pay to have a nanny if you wanted to go out for dinner?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a question of money. We did what we thought was best in the kids' routines, and I think as parents we had a very good routine in terms of the whole bath, bed, story type thing. And I take your point, but for me, you know, if your children are asleep upstairs in a bedroom and you're dining in the garden, you're out of sight and you can't hear them.
Since Madeline's disappearance, technology has changed how missing person cases are solved in amazing ways. Back in 2007, investigators used basic tools like witness statements, physical evidence, and simple DNA tests. Today, they have advanced tools like facial recognition that can scan thousands of images in seconds, better DNA testing that works with old samples, and digital forensics to follow electronic clues. These new methods have already helped solve other old cases, like the Golden State Killer case, which was cracked after decades using genetic genealogy.
Like that, and it's not your home and it's not really secure.
Again, I mean, I think it's back to the safety issue. We did not perceive an element of threat, and child abduction is so rare. Why would you ever have thought that someone was going to get into an apartment and steal your child? It just didn't enter our head. If it had, it wouldn't have happened.
The psychological implications of potentially finding Madeline after 17 years present complex challenges that would require careful handling. For someone who disappeared at age 3 and may have lived under a different identity for most of their life, learning their true identity would be profoundly disorienting. The process of reconciling two different lives, the one lived and the one that might have been, could trigger severe psychological crises. Experts in trauma and identity development suggest that such revelations can fundamentally shake a person's sense of self, requiring extensive professional support and guidance. The McCanns would face their own psychological challenges, having to reconcile their memories of a 3-year-old with the reality of a young adult who has grown up entirely separate from them. But wait, there is more. The McCann case showed both the good and bad sides of how countries work together on big investigations. Police from different countries joined the search, but their different rules and systems often caused confusion and delays. Still, these challenges helped create better ways to handle international missing person cases. like improved information sharing and clearer procedures. If Madeleine has truly been found, it could lead to even more changes and help improve how such cases are solved in the future.
Like that, and it's not your home and it's not really secure.
Again, I mean, I think it's back to the safety issue. We did not perceive an element of threat, and child abduction is so rare. Why would you ever have thought that someone was going to get into an apartment and steal your child? It just didn't enter our head. If it had, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, we've been through all these questions day in, day out. Yeah. Why, how, why? And I can only, say to myself, well, Kate, you felt really safe, and I know how much I love my children, and there's no way I'd have taken a risk.
Media coverage of the McCann case has played a pivotal yet controversial role throughout the investigation. While extensive coverage kept Madeleine's story alive and generated countless leads, it also created significant challenges for both investigators and the family. Early media speculation about the parents' involvement caused immense personal trauma while potentially hampering the investigation. The pressure of constant public scrutiny affected witness reliability and created a flood of false leads that drained investigative resources. Now, with Tucker Carlson's recent announcement about a potential breakthrough, the media faces new challenges in balancing public interest with responsible journalism and respect for privacy. If Madeleine is found, legal questions could be tricky since the case involves different countries like Portugal, the UK, and possibly others. Each country has its own rules about who can handle the case and how long someone can be charged after a crime. Keeping evidence safe for such a long time adds to the challenge. This case might lead to new rules for handling international missing person cases, like how evidence is shared and how countries work together. Any trial for the people responsible would need to carefully deal with these legal differences to make sure justice is done. The societal impact of the McCann case extends far beyond its immediate circumstances, influencing child safety measures worldwide. The case prompted many holiday resorts to revise their security protocols, led to enhanced missing person response procedures, and increased public awareness about child trafficking risks. Hotels and tourist destinations implemented new safety measures, and many countries reviewed their protocols for handling missing child cases. The possibility of finding Madeleine alive after so many years challenges common assumptions about long-term missing person cases and could encourage renewed investigation of other cold cases. This case has also sparked important discussions about the balance between public interest and private grief, media responsibility in sensitive cases, and the importance of maintaining hope in seemingly hopeless situations.
She was just really good company, she's like my little friend sort of all the time.
Reuniting someone who has been missing for 17 years would be very complicated. Along with the emotional and mental challenges, there would be practical issues like updating identity documents, figuring out their legal status, and dealing with any criminal cases. They would need lots of support, like counseling, long-term mental health care, and maybe even witness protection. Solving these challenges could help create better plans for future cases. It also raises big questions. How does a person balance the life they've built with the past they've just reconnected with? This case could have a big impact on how missing person cases are handled in the future. Solving it might show the importance of never giving up and using new technology to solve cold cases. It could lead to better ways for countries to work together, more support for families of missing people, and improved media rules for sensitive cases. It might also push for more funding for cold case investigations and better international databases to help find missing persons faster.
A couple of years since I've seen her, but for someone so young, I just thought she was quite amazing.
And you know it.
Clap your hands.
And it's obviously quite hard thinking about it, sorry.
Since Madeleine's disappearance, technology in forensic science has improved in amazing ways. Back then, DNA testing was basic, facial recognition was just starting, and sharing information between countries was slow. Now, investigators can analyze tiny evidence, track digital footprints, and process huge amounts of data in seconds. These tools might help identify the woman mentioned in Tucker Carlson's report and show how technology can solve old cases. Success could lead to more funding for these tools and help solve other missing person cases. The McCann case also changed how countries work together on investigations. Early problems between Portuguese and British authorities, like language issues and different rules, made things harder. But these challenges led to better ways for countries to share information, collect evidence, and work as a team. New systems for faster communication and translation services now help with cross-border cases. The McCann family has faced immense emotional struggles for nearly 2 decades, holding on to hope while enduring heartbreak. The public's ongoing interest in the case reflects fears about child safety and family vulnerability. If Madeleine has been found, new challenges will arise as the family navigates rebuilding their bond. Experts say reconnecting after such a long time requires care, as they balance memories with the reality of lost years and form new relationships.
Before that, anyone considers us suspects in this, and the Portuguese police certainly don't. And without getting into too much detail about the circumstances, we were with a large group of people, and there is absolutely no way Kate and I are involved in this abduction.
The case also raises concerns about privacy and public interest. While people are naturally curious, it's important to protect the privacy of everyone involved, especially if Madeleine has been found. The media must shift from chasing headlines to reporting responsibly and respecting personal boundaries. This could set new standards for covering sensitive stories and shape how future cases are handled in the public eye. The potential resolution of this case could have far-reaching implications for how missing person investigations are conducted worldwide. It might demonstrate the importance of maintaining active investigations even in cold cases, the value of incorporating new technologies as they become available, and the benefits of international cooperation. Success in this case could lead to increased funding for cold case units, greater investment in forensic technologies, and improved support services for families of missing persons. The experience gained could help develop better protocols for handling similar cases, potentially leading to more successful outcomes in other long-term missing person investigations. Since Madeleine's disappearance in 2007, social media has played a much bigger role in missing person cases. Back then, Facebook and Twitter were new, and social media had little impact on investigations. Today, these platforms help share information, generate leads, and keep the case in the public eye. But they've also spread misinformation and conspiracy theories, which complicates things. Recent updates from Tucker Carlson quickly spread online, showing both the power and dangers of fast global communication in sensitive cases. The McCann case has also changed how the world thinks about child safety. Many countries have improved their response to missing children, added better border controls, and set up faster ways to share information. Hotels and resorts have updated their security, and awareness about child safety has grown. These changes are part of Madeleine's lasting legacy and may help prevent similar incidents in the future. As the McCann case moves toward a possible resolution, it's important to learn from it.